The Waldorf ballroom glittered like a gilded cage, its chandeliers scattering light across the marble floor in jagged patterns. Henry adjusted his cufflinks, the platinum ones Margaret had given him on their last anniversary, as the string quartet faded into silence. 200 eyes turned toward him. "To my daughter," Henry began, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. He reached into his breast pocket. The velvet box felt heavier than it should. "And to the family we become tonight." The click of the hinge echoed. Margaret's necklace, a waterfall of teardrop diamonds, caught the light. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Emily's bridesmaids clutched each other's arms. "Your mother's necklace," Henry whispered, stepping toward his daughter. "Her love, now." "Christ, Henry." Trevor's voice sliced through the moment. He lounged in his chair, swirling a glass of 30-year Macallan. "What is this, Pawn Stars? That cheap junk belongs in a museum." The room froze. Henry's fingers tightened around the box. The diamonds trembled. He looked to Emily, his little girl, the child who'd once sobbed when her goldfish died, but she was studying her manicure, a faint blush creeping up her neck. Someone coughed. A waiter dropped a fork. Trevor smirked, nudging Emily. "Babe, tell your dad we don't do used jewelry." The silence that followed was the loudest sound Henry had ever heard. The diner smelled of stale coffee and fried onions, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry wasps overhead. Henry slid into the cracked vinyl booth, his knuckles white around the envelope of cash. Carl, the private investigator with a face like crumpled newspaper, didn't bother with pleasantries. He tossed a file onto the table, grease-stained and dog-eared. "Your son-in-law's drowning," he muttered, lighting a cigarette despite the no-smoking sign. 2.3 million in debt, most of it to guys who break legs before they ask for payment. Henry flipped through the documents, wire transfers to offshore accounts, loan agreements with interest rates that belonged in a horror story, and then, at the bottom, Emily's signature. Neat, looping, unmistakable. She'd co-signed the last one. His stomach turned to stone. Carl exhaled a plume of smoke. "The Russians don't play nice, Henry. When they come for him, they'll come for her too." Henry didn't speak. He just pushed another stack of hundreds across the table and stared at the photo of Trevor laughing at some high-end club, champagne bottle in hand, while his daughter's future burned to ashes behind him. The email was a masterpiece of understatement. 37 words, no signature, just cold, hard facts. Henry attached the documents, doctored financials, backdated contracts, the kind of evidence that made Wall Street sharks salivate, and hovered his finger over the send button. For a moment, he thought of Emily's face at 6 years old, smeared with chocolate ice cream, telling him he was the best daddy in the world. Then he clicked. The fallout was immediate. By lunchtime, Trevor's office was swarming with suits from the SEC. His investors pulled out in a panic, his credit lines evaporated, and by 3 o'clock, his smug face was splashed across every financial blog with the headline, "Cunningham Fund Implodes." Henry watched it all from his corner office, sipping scotch as the notifications rolled in. The final blow came when Emily's Instagram updated, a single, telling change to "recently single." He allowed himself one grim smile. The apartment had been a gift. This was a lesson. The charity gala was all crystal and pretension, the kind of event Margaret would have loved. Henry lingered near the auction podium, watching as the MC held up the final lot, a stunning diamond necklace, donated anonymously. The crowd oohed as the jewels caught the light. Then Emily screamed. She shoved through the crowd, heels clacking, face flushed. "That's mine," she shrieked, lunging for the stage. Security blocked her with practiced ease. "Prove it," one guard said, bored. Henry turned away, the sound of his daughter's unraveling ringing in his ears. Outside, he paused by a trash can, pulling a cream-colored envelope from his pocket. "Dad, please," it began. He didn't read the rest. The letter fluttered into the bin, landing atop a half-eaten canopy. Some gifts, he thought, stepping into the night, weren't meant to be kept.